Will now give the floor to the distinguished representative of the Bahamas.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Bahamas congratulates the Marshall Islands on its constructive participation in the fourth cycle of the Universal Periodic Review. We note that the Marshall Islands received 223 recommendations and supported 213, including all 3 made by the Bahamas. These related to improving access to safe drinking water and sanitation in outer islands, sustaining efforts to prevent and manage non-communicable diseases, and accelerating implementation of the national policy on gender equality to advance women's leadership and economic empowerment. We commend the Marshall Islands on the adoption of the National Gender Equality Policy, the Disaster Risk Management Act of 2021, and its continued leadership on climate action and nuclear justice. As a fellow archipelagic small island developing state, the Bahamas understands firsthand the compounding pressures of climate vulnerability and geographic dispersion. We encourage the Marshall Islands to continue its engagement with international and regional partners in implementing its accepted recommendations and reaffirm our solidarity as it endeavors to uphold its human rights commitments. I thank you.
Next, I give the floor to Marshall Islands.
Thank you, Ms. Vice President. The Republic of the Marshall Islands thanks the Special Rapporteur for his report. Much like how our mothers give us life, the land and the ocean are what gives the Marshallese people life. The land and the sea are not simply commodities, but an integral part of our culture and essential to our well-being and lives. The Marshall Islands thus supports the Special Rapporteur's call to adopt a territorial approach to land, fisheries, forest, and water governance and recognize territories as living systems. As his report notes, the relationship with land is not one that begins from a place of entitlement, but from a place of responsibility. Practices like the unlawful disposal of chemical and industrial waste and overfishing are unsustainable practices that harm the environment and threaten food security. For the Marshall Islands, climate change represents a material and imminent threat to our land. This is particularly true for women, as encroaching seas are dispossessing them of land that was traditionally passed from mothers to children for generations. The triple planetary crisis of pollution, climate change, and biodiversity loss should be addressed in a holistic manner with bold actions to preserve, protect, and promote the human rights of our populations, including the right to food. Komo tata, and I thank you.
I now give the floor to the distinguished representative of Nauru.
Mr. President, Nauru thanks the Special Rapporteur for her important report highlighting the persistent underrepresentation of persons with disabilities in political decision-making. Nauru has taken steps to strengthen disability inclusion through the enactment of the Persons with Disabilities Act 2023. In the electoral sphere specifically, recent civic education initiatives included the development of an accessible voting guide for persons with disabilities. Initially produced as a standalone resource, it was later incorporated into a voter guide distributed to all Nauruan households, allowing inclusive messaging on the rights of persons with disabilities to reach the broader community and contribute to reducing stigma. However, as a small island state, we face significant capacity and resource constraints, particularly in expertise, infrastructure, data collection, and mental health services. While consultation mechanisms are improving, ensuring sustained leadership development and political pathways for persons with disabilities remains a challenge. In this regard, we would welcome the Special Rapporteur's guide on how small and resource-constrained states can move from consultation to meaningful political representation, including practical measures to support leadership development and accessible public office pathways for persons with disabilities. Thank you.